Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and we're going to dip back in on the Ray Fisher situation. Ray Fisher being the young actor who plays Cyborg in the Justice League movie. And I'm going to be honest, guys, I think his career is effectively over, at least with Warner Brothers. Ray Fisher has lobbed all kinds of allegations at Warner Brothers, saying that Joss Whedon was treating him very, very badly on the set of Justice League. There was an investigation. The investigation turned up nothing, and he blasted Warner Brothers. And you know what they did? They fired back, and they fired him. They fired him off The Flash. It's official. He's not going to be in The Flash anymore. I don't think this version of Cyborg is going to be in the DCEU anymore, at least not played by Ray Fisher. And I gotta wonder, since this guy only has a handful of credits to his name, whether or not he has just flagged himself as being a troublemaker and could potentially be hurting his own career long term. I don't know what else to say. You know, there are two sides to every story, but he has been very, very persistent. And so far, only Jason Momoa has backed up his claims. And I don't even know what those claims are. Like, nobody's been clear on what exactly went down that caused this in the first place. And there was an investigation. And Warner Media does a pretty thorough job. I mean, they will fire people for literally nothing at this point. They're looking to save money and they're looking to save face. So the fact that it turned up nothing, I don't know what to say. You know, I'm not saying I don't believe them, but I guess I'm kind of saying I got to see some receipts, right? And we haven't seen any receipts. So he has fired off The Flash. We're going to talk about that. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 170,000 subs. Thank you so much for the support. It really means a lot to us. We want to keep bringing you objective pop culture news and views here on Clownfish TV. Try to give you a little bit of an alternative to all the spin you're seeing out there on the mainstream media sites, or at least offer our perspective on that for whatever it's worth, right? So Gizmodo talking about it. We got Cosmic Book News talking about it. And yeah, here we go. Ray Fisher responds to Cyborg being removed from The Flash. Again, Gizmodo, formerly IO9. I think IO9 is pretty much done, but Gizmodo is covering it. The ongoing conflict between Warner Media and Justice League actor Ray Fisher reached a new level. A week after the news broke that the actor's role in the upcoming Flash film had been cut, the actor responded with a long, detailed letter on Twitter, adding more flame to the fire. He just keeps doing this. Like, a lot of this stuff should have been handled back channel. I understand he's frustrated. I understand he's got grievances. But again, this is a guy, if you go out to IMDb, he's got 6 credits, and 2 of them are in Justice League. He was on True Detective. He played Cyborg on Batman vs. Superman. He had, 1 episode in the Astronaut Wives Club, and he was in a short. Like, this guy has barely gotten started in his career, and I can tell you, these Hollywood, conglomerates, they don't like people who rock the boat, especially if you have flimsy or no evidence. So the letter, which is embedded below, in it, Fisher clears up what he believes are a few misconceptions surrounding the story and details. The way he believes DC Films president Walter Hamada has undermined investigations into conditions on the Justice League set, specifically to protect producer Geoff Johns, who, is still working on projects over at DC. Now, Joss Whedon kind of got gone from HBO Max, probably over this, and Ray Fisher was celebrating that publicly. Again, a lot of this is pretty normal behind-the-scenes stuff in Hollywood, unfortunately. I'm like, does he have an agent? Where is his agent in this? Because the agent needs to be like, Ray, shut your mouth. You're not doing yourself any favors. You don't like Warner Brothers. You don't work at Warner Brothers. But if you want to have a career beyond Justice League, shut your mouth for now. You know, when you're Will Smith, you can circle back around and sling shit at Warner Brothers. But right now, you've got a handful of credits to your name, and this is not doing your career any favors. So let's see what he has to say. God, this is long. I have received official confirmation that Warner Brothers Pictures has decided to remove me from the cast of The Flash. I strongly disagree with their decision, but it's one that's unsurprising. Well, dude, when you've been throwing mud their way for the last year, and you keep saying that they're not doing enough, and that Walter Hamada, who's basically your boss, is an enabler, you really think they're going to keep you on? That's not how this works. Despite the misconception, Cyborg's involvement in The Flash was much larger than a cameo, and while I do mourn the lost opportunity to bring Victor Stone back to the screen, bringing awareness to the actions of Walter Hamada will prove to be a much more important contribution to our world. On December 30th, I made it clear that I cannot, with a clear conscience, participate in any production associated with the current president of DC Films, Walter Hamada. And I'm sure the feeling is mutual, Ray. I'm sure it is. The reasoning behind that declaration was twofold. Walter's purposeful attempt to undermine the Justice League investigation in order to protect his friend and former co-president Geoff Johns. Walter's attempt to protect himself by contributing to the public dissemination of lies and misinformation about myself and the Justice League investigation in Warner Brothers Pictures' September 4th statement to The Wrap. Two sides to every story. I get it. But I haven't seen any receipts. And so far, it's only Jason Momoa who's come forward that I'm aware of and said, hey, he's right. Meanwhile, Gal Gadot's cashing her $10 million check to say nice things about HBO Max. So I don't know what's going on here. I want to hear, like, what exactly happened? Nobody is saying that. Like, he's going off on all these bad things that happened, but what exactly happened other than Joss Whedon was mean? Bear in mind, Walter Hamada interfering with the Justice League investigation is a completely separate issue than the investigation itself. While Walter's behavior was not a point of focus for the investigation of the Justice League reshoots, his dangerous and enabling actions during the investigation process must be called to account on Twitter. I have to call out the bigwig of Warner Brothers on Twitter, because that's where this belongs. Does he not have an agent? Because the agent would tell him to shut his pie hole. Like, dude, if you ever want to work in this town again, we can deal with this issue, but for now, stay the hell off of Twitter. Let me handle it, back channel. We'll work it out, whatever. But going out there and taking a dump on Warner Brothers at every possible opportunity is not going to make you friends. It's just not. I'm like, this is how to blow your career up in one push of one button. You push that tweet button, you've nuked your career. On July 7th, during a 57-minute long phone call with Walter, exactly 57 minutes, I made multiple attempts to have him escalate my claims of misconduct against Joss Whedon, Geoff Johns, and John Berg through the proper channels. I think he is the proper channel at that point. Rather than escalate the situation, Walter disparaged Joss Whedon and John Berg in an attempt to cover for Geoff Johns when I alerted Walter that Geoff was, in fact, a major contributor to the issues, including blatant racism. Walter tried, but to no avail, to get me to reveal the names of witnesses and other specifics that could be used to forewarn Geoff of the claims being brought against him. Or, again, armchair opinion, I wasn't there. Or he's just looking for receipts. Like, if you're gonna make these accusations, I gotta know exactly what happened. Because if I'm gonna fire a guy over this, you gotta tell me exactly what happened. You can't just say, well, racism. That doesn't work. And you're not dealing with a white dude either. Hamada is Asian. So it's not like, you can be like, well, you're just a white supremacist, Walter Hamada. It's like, that's not going to work. You got to specifics. You want him to destroy someone's career, you got to give some specifics. Walter even went so far as to sharply dismiss certain claims of mine as untrue because of his work experience and personal relationship with Geoff. Now, to be fair, I've been in this situation too. I've been in situations like this where I've had negative experiences working with people that other people just absolutely love, and it was just specific to me and maybe a handful of other people. I mean, that does happen, right? Walter indicated that he was briefed on Joss Whedon's problematic behavior well in advance of my speaking out on July 1st. What problematic behavior? What is problematic? It's racist. How? How is it racist? That briefing likely came from Geoff Johns, with whom Walter served as co-president of DC Films. Regardless of how he was made aware, Walter knew that there was legitimacy to my claims against Joss Whedon, yet he persisted in trying to minimize and dismiss the situation. Well, Joss Whedon did kind of get gone off of his HBO Max series. He claimed it was a producer's job to protect the director and that he was looking to move beyond anything to do with Zack Snyder's Justice League. Again, does he not have an agent? Because usually the agent is involved in disputes like this. Why is this just him doing it on his own? I don't understand. It wasn't until I argued Walter down that he agreed to escalate my claims as asked, citing it as above his pay grade. Knowing that he had overstepped and that I had no intention of backing down, Walter made matters worse by making a tastelessly self-aware joke about not wanting me to put him on Twitter about this. Who wants to be put on Twitter trial? Despite Walter's best efforts, the Justice League investigation was able to expose the racist, coercive, discriminatory, and retaliatory behavior of Geoff Johns during his tenure with Warner Media's affiliates. It has also led to the more immediate parting of the ways between Warner Media and Joss Whedon. That much can, I guess, be verified because Whedon was working on the show and he just got gone. That doesn't happen unless there's some behind-the-scenes stuff. While it may be legally and financially safer to quietly phase Geoff Johns out or let Joss Whedon exit on his own, I share neither of those responsibilities. My responsibilities are and have been to try and protect those that were brave enough to lend their voice to the Justice League investigation, to use what little power I possess to ensure that the workplace behavior exhibited during the Justice League reshoots never happens again. No one in any profession should have to argue with their employer for their claims of abuse, racism, and discrimination to be taken up the proper chain of command. Wait. No one in any profession should have to argue with their employer for their claims of abuse, racism, and discrimination to be taken up the proper chain of command. That's how these things work. How many jobs has Ray Fisher actually had outside of Hollywood? Because anytime you have an allegation against a coworker in a normal job, you go to HR, and HR looks into it, and if they think there's some legitimacy to it, they call someone into their office, and then if it turns out that, yeah, this is the case, then it goes up the chain of command. But you have to have receipts. You have to have proof. There has to be some indication that the person did something wrong. And beyond that, most states are at-will employment. And if you're an actor, you are effectively a contractor. You're not on payroll. You're not salaried. You're a contractor. They're paying you for a gig. So you're a gig worker. You might be getting paid millions of dollars, but at the end of the day, you're still a gig worker. So this isn't like working in an office anyway. I don't think he's worked very much for other people. I really don't. I don't know. No one in any position of leadership should attempt to dissuade those wishing to report such claims from doing so. Walter's actions have transformed this narrative from an investigation of on-set misconduct in 2017 to the examination of the present-day cover-up culture of Hollywood. Actually, Hollywood has been tossing people overboard at a shocking rate. And especially Warner. I mean, Warner's like not messing around. Look what happened with Ellen. Look what's happened at Rooster Teeth. They're throwing people overboard like crazy. His contribution to Warner Brothers Pictures' September 4th statement to the rap was false, cowardly, and reckless. I maintain that Walter Hamada is unfit for position of leadership. He should be impeached from Warner Media. And I'm willing at any point to submit to a polygraph test to support my claims against him. What? Well, that escalated. I don't know how many instances of workplace abuse Walter has attempted to cover in the past, but hopefully the Justice League investigation will be the last. And if the end of my time as Cyborg is the cost of helping to bring awareness and accountability to Walter Hamada's actions, I'll pay it gladly. Ray. I have to admire his passion, but I really think he just tossed a hand grenade into his own career. I get that. Like a lot of people have really bad experiences with Hollywood people. I would just be like, I'm going to file this away. I'm going to move on. I'm going to go build my career. I'm going to file this away. When I got a lot more credits than these, I'm going to circle back around and then I'm going to get Walter Hamada back, or whatever. IO9 has reached out to Warner Brothers to see if the company had any comment on the contents of the letter, but has yet to hear back as a publication. I don't think Warner Brothers needs to give IO9 the time of day. We will update the story when and if that happens. Note, though, a source has told us Cyborg's role was indeed a cameo, despite Fisher's comment here. So, IO9, Gizmodo, which is a pretty progressive blog, is basically saying Ray Fisher is lying. He was only supposed to be in The Flash for maybe a couple of minutes. He wasn't the co-lead of The Flash. As I understand it, it's going to be Batman, but who knows? Fisher's problems with Warner Brothers were first made public in July when he accused Joss Whedon of being abusive, yada, yada, yada. This is insane. This is just like, I have never seen a celebrity blow themselves up in such a spectacular fashion. So right out of the gate, I mean, like it wasn't just like, hey, there's some allegations, we're going to look into it. It was like they did the investigation. As far as I know, it's over. And even if he wasn't happy with the results, I'd be like, fine, I'm not working for Warner Brothers anymore. You don't have to broadcast. You're not going to work for Warner Brothers anymore, because every other studio is going to look at you now, Ray, and they're going to be like, this guy is trouble. It's trouble. He's trouble. He's going to come in. He's going to cause trouble. Just like we talked about yesterday with Amber Heard. She wants to drag Disney into her messy defamation suit with Johnny Depp to try to get some dirt on him. Disney's not going to hire you. Like, there are ways to handle this. You can do it back channel or whatever. And I'm not saying his grievances aren't legit, but right now he looks like a crybaby. He does. He looks like he's just constantly whining. People know him more for complaining about Warner Media than for Cyborg at this point. They're like, they didn't even know who the hell Cyborg was because he hardly had any credits. And, I don't know what to tell you, man. This is just nuts. But yeah, he claims that Geoff Johns was racist. It's interesting. Matt McGloin, who runs Cosmic Book News, I believe, said that Ethan Van Sciver, who's a friend of Geoff Johns, he said that Geoff Johns' first wife was actually black. So Geoff Johns is racist. You'd be surprised. I'm not going to say, hey, but you'd be surprised how many people on YouTube, how many people working in Hollywood, whatever, are accused of being racists or white supremacists or whatever, who actually have spouses or children who are mixed race. You would be shocked, because the assumption, which is kind of racist, by the way, the assumption is that white people are trash and they're going to marry their own kind and make more trash, I guess. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. There it is. He's gone. I guarantee you he's going to be known more for, the behind the scenes drama than he will be, for the role of Cyborg going forward. Maybe he can rebound with another studio. I don't know. I would like to see some receipts. And again, when you make these kinds of claims, you got to have some proof. You can't just say so-and-so's a racist and so-and-so was mean to me and whatever. Specific examples. There haven't been specific examples. And they might be out there, but they might be locked under NDA or whatever. But even with Ellen DeGeneres, I mean, Ellen's got a hell of a lot more power than Ray Fisher. I mean, she got investigated and there were specific examples. Warner Media investigated her and they freaking love her. She makes them all kinds of money. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Gonna wrap it up. We'll talk later.